My name is Andrea Schermoly and I've been a dancer with Nederlands Dans Theater for 6 years. I joined NDT2 and I had a 3-year contract, and then after that was selected to go to NDT1. Well, I'm originally from South Africa, born and raised, but I went to school, ballet school in London, and I was in Boston Ballet company, in a classical company, for 2 years before joining Nederlands Dans Theater. My favorite things about NDT, I think, is the family atmosphere. I think that we don't have any hierarchy here, and a lot of dancers are just great. In fact, everyone, they're just really great, friendly people. And I think we genuinely like each other and get along. So there's a really good collaborative artistic effort here, which I think we all know is really special and we appreciate. I think that's the most favorite thing I have about the company. Well, actually, my mother and my grandmother were both dancers, and I've been raised watching NDT on video for forever. So I never really wanted to audition because I was a bit enamored by it. But then in Boston Ballet there was a choreographer that came from NDT who did a piece on us, and I was highlighted in the piece quite a lot, and he suggested it would be a good time to try it. So I did. But I came to the NDT2, like the cattle audition, which is just, 300 people all waiting with your number, wanting to be special. And it's a little bit, yeah. The audition was interesting because I came from the States literally the night before, auditioned the day of, and went back the next day. So I was a bit jet-lagged and whirlwindy anyway. It was really difficult. I mean, everyone arrives here. I arrived here alone, which was fine, but a lot of people come with kind of their pack, their family pack. It's like a barbecue upstairs in the green room, and people are like cheering when you get selected for the next round. So it's kind of very surreal. But it's a long day, it's a really long day. You start off with a ballet class and you get selected through to do a repertoire, and then afterwards to do a solo of your own. And then afterwards they choose a final selection of people to interview. And so they get to see who you are. After the audition, to be honest, seriously, actually the day of the audition, I already had a feeling it was real, because there was just something in the air that I felt was more solid than what I'd experienced before. But they waited a period of 2 weeks. But I wasn't entirely shocked when I got the contract. I think there was something there that I thought, okay, I think this is gonna happen. I went home to South Africa for almost 8 weeks. Came back totally out of shape. Good way to start a new job. But yeah. Yeah, I think there were a lot of difficulties that I was confronted with at first. One being that even though there's not a hierarchy in the company, there's a definite state of who knows the repertoire and who doesn't. So the people who have more experience are put on stage far more. So you come in, and most of the first years, I would say especially the first years in NDT2, are hardly ever on stage. You spend almost like an initiation year learning repertoire, proving yourself in essence, but just really getting the feel of it. And a lot of it is, I like to say it's like learned via osmosis. I mean, a lot of your information is coming from dancers with you and your colleagues. It's not always passed down by a director. It is, of course, we have a wonderful director who does direct you, but it's a lot of word of mouth and just watching all the time, which is really different to a classical company where you're on stage all the time. And you know already the style that you're working in, whereas in NDT there's so many different varying vocabularies that just really take practice and take sort of letting go, learning how to let go. It takes a long time. I think personally my highlight, I would have to say, was doing a piece called Fluke by Matzek, and I adore Killian and I adore Paul and Sol's work, and in fact, Shutter Shut by Paul and Sol was something I really enjoyed too, but both of those were similar in the fact that they had characters, which I really enjoyed doing. And also the Matzek work is just a bit heavier, it's a bit lower to the ground. It's really good for tall dancers, and I'm one of the few tall girls here, so that was special. And I got to do a speaking role too, so even though I'm clearly uncomfortable now, but I actually like talking on stage. I had a pas de deux that was with one of the other dancers, Miguel, and we were a married couple. But the words were all, it's kind of strange, it's a bit like Meisner technique, where the words don't really mean anything, but the intonation of how you say them conveys what the story is. And it's sort of interlaced with dance, and then at one point it's just a 10-minute chunk of us talking and doing actions and going in and out. And in English, it's really muddled, and then you get a sense of how the couple is miscommunicating also, that it doesn't matter what they're saying to each other. They're not hearing each other, and these strange things are happening, and they're affected by all these external forces which are ruining their marriage. So it's about communication, which doesn't happen. It was really cool. We were mic'd, and the talking happened after a 9-minute pas de deux. So it sounded like this all the time, which was awful. But it was fun. I think I was always interested in acting, even simultaneously with dance, but I don't know, I just wanted a break. I wanted a break from being physical and just to explore a different art form. And acting is, I don't want to say it's more like cerebral or brain, it's nothing like that. It's just something that has to do with words, which I really enjoyed. I liked the idea of becoming a character and using your body and your voice in a different way. And it's hard though. It was really like therapy in a weird way. Because a lot of dancing, I think, you don't get to be yourself ever. And you're always in a situation, even as a professional, where you're in a student-teacher relationship. Even though you are a professional and you're an adult, it has that air about it in all companies. And I think in acting it's really interesting because you're essentially a freelance artist, and also the way that they treat you is you're your own person. And you have to explore that and not look like somebody else or be told to do something else like somebody else. It's about finding who you are, which in dancing you do, but in a totally different way. It's a lot more limited. I took a year off of dancing to act, to go to acting school. Acting school affected my dancing hugely. I think, even though I think a lot of physical progression may have been halted at one point, it didn't matter to me as much as what I gained from just learning to be a bit more free and learning to trust yourself. And it's hard to explain, but I felt differently, and I also felt less obsessed with being perfect, because I think that's the worst thing especially for dancers and for artists in general, is looking for this absolute perfection that doesn't exist and not allowing yourself to be, your imperfections are what make you special. So that kind of, it resounded. It was really great. I think it was confidence boosting, but also just relaxed me.